This is the my thoughts on the Kangni wheelchair that I've recently purchased. Obviously I'm not sat in the Kangni wheelchair at the moment. This is my previous wheelchair, which does a lot of similar things. It raises to 36 inches, goes down to 19 inches, tips forward for sit to stand, and it's an off-road wheelchair, but enough about that one. The reason I'm buying the Kangni is because I was looking for something a little less cumbersome. This has 6 wheels, and the back two are pretty uncontrollable, so it's a bit dangerous for getting in and out of a vehicle or going around a supermarket or shopping centre or whatever. So I'll now switch over to the Kangni wheelchair, and I'll go through all the controls that we have and see what we make of it. To get into the chair, first of all, I need to bring it towards me, and it has a nice handy little remote controller that comes with it. So if I sit in my armchair, I can just shoo the wheelchair away. So let's see if this works. I'm not a very good driver. And there we go. Okay, so this is the charging port. Now you can see that it's right at the base of the wheelchair on the back. Not what I consider to be an ideal location. Next we move over to the control panel on the side. So this is the control panel, the usual forward, back, left, right, reverse, etc., etc. But there's a function panel, and you can see the blue lights. And then 8 different functions, and I will go through those shortly. Around this side of the wheelchair, down by the leg rest, there is a lever on there. Don't know if you can see it with the light, but you pull the lever, and that's a way of making the leg rest a little bit longer. So it's basically adjustable. And around this side of the wheelchair, that's a lever which comes into play with the seat rotation. Basically with that one, if you pull that lever, you can rotate 90 degrees, pull it again, you go around 180 degrees. Whereas if you do the seat rotation with the function panel, you see it just goes around 180 degrees full stop. So at this point, I will now get myself into the chair and go through the functions. Okay, so here I am sat in the Kangni Smart wheelchair. I'll just switch it on, and you see that when it comes on, it sort of readjusts itself a little bit. As soon as you touch the controller, the footrest puts itself into some sort of position. So I'll leave it there for now. So now I'm going to go through the 8 functions. So the first function you've sort of already seen, which is the leg rest function. It's pretty straightforward. Everything has a leg rest, right? So there we go. Right, that's as high as I'm going to go with that. If I wanted to make that longer, there's a lever at the side, but it's too far down for me to reach. I actually think it's maybe just there to adjust to your length when you purchase the chair, but not to be used when you're using the chair in normal day-to-day activities. Just put that back, and there we go. So that's the first function. The second function, I quite like this one. This is the backrest, and you notice just the backrest itself will tip, which is quite handy. Put the leg rest down again. So you can tip just the backrest. It actually goes nearly flat. And just bring that one forward again. That's a function I quite like. It's quite comfortable, that one. The next function we have is the movement of the whole chair. Just bringing the whole chair back. So it just goes about that far, I think. And then you can obviously tip it forward as well. But you can't tip anything forward without the leg rest adjusting to compensate. So there we go, that's as far as it goes. So I'll just again put the leg rest back down. The next one is one of the reasons I bought the chair, which is the seat rise. So this particular one goes up 13 inches. And there's another model that only goes up 8 inches. It takes a bit of a while to get there, but we get there in the end. Good for dusting the top shelves of cupboards, I guess. So there we go. And then we're just coming back down slowly. Very slowly. What I didn't realise was that there are 2 different models of wheelchair that you can purchase. Actually, there are 108 variations, but one only rises 7 inches and the other one goes up the full height. I just thought it was just one. Okay, the next function I want to test is the stand assist function. The reason I'm not doing this sat in my chair is because I think you need a little bit of leg strength to do this. If you can walk a little bit, I think you can slide off and that will be fine. And for getting on, it's just the reverse for getting on. So I'll just reset it. And there we go. Goes back down. I just want to bring the leg rest back. You always have to do that individually. Okay, and that's the end of that function. Okay, so the next function I want to show you is something called the, I call it the rocking chair function. Not quite sure what it's called. Not quite sure of the point or benefits, but it's, I guess it's just relaxing if you just want to sit still. There you go. Every few seconds it'll tip itself back. Okay, let's move on to the seat rotate. So this was one of the selling points. And it actually turned out to be a disappointment for me because when I purchased it, I envisaged that I could sit in a elevator or back of a vehicle and just swivel the whole unit round. But as you can see, it actually goes very high. It goes to its full height before it rotates. So here's the rotation. And it can come back again. So we just swivel back around. And it just puts itself back down. Now there is a lever here. And what that one does, if you pull this one, the seat will rise and take you around to 90 degrees so you can face off the side of the chair. But I'd say the disappointment for me was that it goes full height, so it's not really what I was looking to use it for. I thought it would just go up a little. Okay, there's one other function that I haven't mentioned, and that is it's auto leveling function. I think that's what they call it. So that if you were to go up a steep hill, instead of tipping back as your chair goes up the hill, the seat would actually go level so that you always look as though you're straight as you're going up. And the same for when you're coming back down the hill. Instead of tipping you forward, it'll lean you back in the seat. I can't demonstrate that because I don't have a steep enough slope here. Okay, my number one problem is that the seat is too high for my desk. This is a standard 30-inch desk. And I could say the same for restaurant tables. So it's actually too high for that. Now there is a way around it. And the way I get around it is put the footrest down and tilt the chair forward and you can move in. Now that's okay. But the problem you have, and I'm not going to do it here, is that if you were to switch it off, it's okay. When you switch it, so you'd be in position under the desk. The problem comes when you switch it on. So you have a little bit of an adjustment, but as soon as you touch that, up goes the footrest, and your knees are jammed under the desk. Overall, my detailed comments are below the video, so you can take a look at those. But I just want to touch upon one thing, or maybe two things. And one of the reasons I purchased this chair, as opposed to my six-wheel one, is to get it in the back of a vehicle. Two problems I've come across actually. One is that because of the height difference to what was actually published in the documentation, it means that sat in a wheelchair I'm 57 inches high, because it's quite a bit higher than I expected. So that means it's difficult finding a vehicle where my head doesn't need to be bent or I need to be virtually lying down. And the other problem with the vehicle, which is a bit of a safety concern, is that there are no anchor points whatsoever on the wheelchair to put the safety straps to that are fitted in the bottom of a vehicle. So they're my major gripes with regard to a vehicle. Other issues I've mentioned during the video, which is there's an inconsistency with the documented measurements on their website compared to what the chair actually measures. For example, it's supposed to be 44 inches ground to seat height. Without the headrest, it's actually 46. I'm told that that's because I'm sat upright, and if it was tilted back a bit, it would be 44. I'm not going to say any more than that. Other than that, I think, would I purchase the chair if I was looking fresh, or if with a degree of hindsight? The answer is probably. It does most of what I want. I think the two main functions for me are the height adjustment, so I can get on and off it with a bit of ease, and being able to get it in the back of a vehicle. So there are high-roofed vehicles around, I just have to find one. But if I was just purchasing a chair for the use around the house and going out occasionally, I think you would need to think very, very carefully, because, as you've seen, it doesn't fit under the desk, it doesn't fit under tables, it doesn't turn that easily, and I wouldn't say no to the chair, but I think what I would suggest is you would need to think about which model of the 108 variations would suit your requirements. Quality-wise, I think the chair is well made. Company and a good company to deal with. The price is very affordable. It's hard to me to give an accurate price, because whereas mine cost, I guess, around just under $5,000, it's going to be dependent on countries, because each in-country distributor would be responsible for their own pricing once they've added in shipping and their own administration costs. So that's nothing that Kangni can guarantee. Other than that, I'll put a review at the bottom, and that's all I have to say.